I know.
Should be ashamed of yourselves. Jesus Christ.
Hello. Welcome back to Exotic Wine Travel. Since you guys like the reactions to wine scenes and films so much, I'm going to do another video, this time reacting to the biggest wine YouTube channel, Wineking. When I started this YouTube journey, I really thought there was a space for somebody in wine to break through and become a huge creator on the platform. I was actually hoping that would be me. I actually have an article about my last 6 years on YouTube. I'll put that in the description box below. But this channel, Wineking, started to break through last year. It's run by a Korean guy named Jay Lee, Korean guy that lives in California. So I guess, hey, we have some similarities, right? And he started out with his two Master of Wine friends, Pat Farrell and Peter Koff. I actually knew Pat personally, had dinner with him a few times, been on different wine trips with him. He's left, and now it's just Jay and Peter.
Yay!
When they started to break out, I was a little bit jealous. I wanted that to be me, darn it! But at the end of the day, I'm actually really happy for him because the content is entertaining, it's raw, it's funny.
Run like hell!
And it's not overproduced. And you know what? I've seen some of the viewers from that channel come over to my channel as well. I think there's space for other big wine creators on the platform. So let's take a look at some of their videos. Wineking uploads once or twice a week, and there's two videos that I thought were really funny, two of their more recent videos. One was on the whole bourbon barrel-aged wine, this whole kind of trend phenomenon that's taking over the US. And as you could guess, I didn't like the wines very much.
What is it, Peter? Number 3?
That horrible ersatz oak flavor from cheap wine.
Ersatz?
Ersatz, not real.
Not real.
Yeah, you know, chips and staves and essences, and oh, it's horrible.
I love when Jay gives Peter bad wine. He goes off on a tangent. That always makes the best shows. I'm always leaving comments saying, "Leave Peter bad wine. Give Peter bad wine." I'm not a big fan of bourbon barrel-aged wine. That is, and Peter will explain that. You know, those woody flavors is not from the bourbon barrels, because those bourbon barrels are old. They're not going to give off any flavors anymore. It's a marketing ploy, guys. It's a marketing ploy. My favorite is when Peter gets upset. He wants to give winemakers the death penalty.
My worst one,
you, Peter.
Shameless pandering, I called it. Death sentence for the winemaker.
Only one time of death sentence or multiple times?
And a terrible score. People will love it, is what upsets me about this wine.
Peter is definitely right. People love this style of wine, especially in the US. The big fruity wines, high in alcohol, have a little bit of sweetness, some vanilla tones. It's so funny because you have these type of wine drinkers, and then you have more geeky people, or I guess people that have more experience in wine. It's not better nor worse. We usually detest these types of flavors because to us, it doesn't resemble wine. It resembles a cookie cutter wine, a Coca-Cola wine, so to speak. And my favorite part, when Peter gets so upset.
It's $15.5.
Do you know what I can buy for $15? Do you know I can buy great muscadet for $15?
Yeah, I know.
I can buy spectacular wine from Rueda, Verdejo and Sauvignon Blanc for $15. I can buy South African Sauvignon Blanc that scores 90 points for $15.
I know.
Should be ashamed of yourselves. Jesus Christ.
Peter, they are better wines.
Those are the good ones. Oh, and by the way, those are the good ones.
Peter is definitely right. At $15, if you really know where to look, you can get some fantastic wines. Some things that Peter mentioned, Muscadet, you definitely can get some great Muscadet at 15 bucks. I think at under 15, you can find some really nice whites from Trentino Alto Adige in Italy. That's also something that we're seeking out. 15 bucks, you can also get some pretty nice drinkable Riojas from Spain. Or Jumilla from the south of Spain, for that matter, if you want some bigger, fruitier wine. That's my favorite part of the show, seeing Peter get on his high horse.
15.9! Yay! They won! Wine is supposed to be 13% of alcohol to keep it in balance. Just so you know. Maple. Anytime they have the balls to describe a wine on the label as tasting of maple, run like hell!
I totally agree. If I picked up a wine, and this is me being a wine geek, knowing a little bit more about wine, and it said the taste of maple, I would definitely, like Peter say, run like hell. This is something I think Peter says that's actually quite insightful.
I think it's fair for us to say that those that showed the most wood were the least good.
Yeah.
The most wood, the least good. Right?
Right.
It's a good saying. Let's all together now.
The most wood?
Wood, the least good.
That's definitely my palate. Some people like the taste of wood flavors. For me personally, I like the structure of oak. I like when it adds some seasoning. I like whites that are barrel fermented or aged in oak. But when the oak flavor dominates the fruit or dominates the wine, it really turns me off. It really bothers me. So Peter, I'm with you on this. The less wood, the least good. I think we got another good Peter rant here coming on.
So between those two, I mean, otherwise Jay and I had everything the same. So there's your quality check, tasted blind. You guys do not have to be subjected to my rants, but if it's been of any help to you, good, because it was of no fucking help to me.
Please excuse me.
But Peter's the kind of guy I want to sit down and taste with. I'm hoping that next time I get to America, I can get out there and actually taste with them. I love when he drops the F-bomb. Have you ever noticed when you drop it, people that, it's an art to drop an F-bomb at an appropriate time, as long as you're not overdoing it, it's quite powerful, it's quite funny. This other video that I like that they recently released is about tasting the first growths of Bordeaux blind, the most expensive wines in Bordeaux. And I have to give Peter a lot of credit here. Jay, the wine king, knew what the wines were. Peter did not. For a master of wine to be willing to taste blind on camera for everybody to see, double blind at that, not knowing what the wines even were, I have to give him so much credit. I taste with a lot of masters of wine when I was traveling a lot before the global crisis. I don't know if I've met a lot of MWs that'd be willing to taste blind on camera for everybody to see. So Peter, hats off to you on this one.
So today, we are going to taste 5 red wines.
All right.
Those 5 red wines are from one greater area, one same greater area.
From a single greater area.
Yeah. And they may not be from the same subzones.
Okay, got it.
And that's it.
That's it.
Double blind tasting is incredibly difficult. You have to have this library. Not only do you have to be a really good taster, you have to have an incredible memory. You have to have this Rolodex of all wines that you've tasted. Thousands and thousands of wine ready to pick from your brain so you can try to relate to that. And you see it all the time. People get tricked all the time when tasting blind. This video to me was actually really impressive.
So I looked at the wines and smelled them before I even tasted them. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to me that there were not any, one or two had slightly deeper red colors. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, there were some earth tones and there were not really deep red wines. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I looked at those and I said, okay, what kind of wines would give you those colors potentially? I also thought that the wines had a little bit of age on them. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, what could we possibly be looking at here? The first thing that jumped out at me was a bunch of Sangiovese based wines from Tuscany, some Bordeaux, something from Piedmont.
It seems a little obvious to a lot of us that drink wine because we knew what the wines were, that he narrowed them down like that to Tuscany, Bordeaux, or Piemonte, Italy. But I'm telling you, when you're tasting blind in the moment, especially you're in front of camera, that's really, really impressive. I do agree Bordeaux tends to have a little bit of earthiness to it. We're tasting blind. I think the only Bordeaux that stand out to me are Merlot-based vines in Saint-Emilion, the right bank, maybe Pomerol a little bit for the plushness, but all the stuff, the Cabernet-based wines on the left bank, that's really, really tough.
So the question then is, how do I come down on choosing it? The color of the wine. There are more than a few wines, 3 or 4 of the 5 wines have got deeper ruby colors, mm-hmm. which is what worried me for a diagnosis of Sangiovese. It's really, for me, not easy. I would have thought, how can one struggle between Chianti, Sangiovese, and Bordeaux?
Also, the fact, he's really professional, you can tell, even though he's dropping F-bombs and stuff like that. Color's something that I tend to not really look into that much. Usually I just look at it to see if the wine has some age on it. Certain grapes, like Sangiovese, like Peter said, like Nebbiolo, give off a certain color with this kind of orange rimming on the edges. But then this is what really I thought was really impressive.
Without a great deal of confidence, I'm going to come down on the side of Bordeaux.
Great.
For two reasons. One, because the colors are slightly more ruby, and then because there is a certain amount of, in the legs, a certain amount of extract.
That is true. Yeah.
And I'm used to Sangiovese having zero extract. But none of these had very deep extract. So I thought, okay, it could be Sangiovese.
Again, impressive. And you could even say he was very open, saying, without, not 100% confident, but he did think that it was Bordeaux.
All right. Yeah, they're all from Bordeaux.
Okay. All right. Now we have to pick subzones.
Yeah.
Subzones, that's tough.
Subzones.
Okay, no problem.
I'm looking for the classic zones.
5 zones.
Those five zones.
Uh-huh.
But could it be a Santamino and a Pomerol? I don't think I pick up predominantly Merlot-based wines here.
That's the only thing I feel like I could pick out blind. I've done Bordeaux blind tasting before. I think that Pomerol and Saint-Emilion do stand out. But this is to pick out all the different zones on the left bank.
Okay.
So are we looking at the 5 classic areas of the left bank? I think that's where I'm going to go.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
You're right.
Okay.
Good
You're
job,
right,
Jay.
Peter.
Yeah, they all seem to me to be largely Cabernet Sauvignon based left bank wines.
Oh.
Now it's scary that there's one from each of those zones, because now I'm starting to look for first growths.
This is impressive. I don't have a Rolodex in my mind of all the appellations on the left bank of Bordeaux. I was supposed to be there last year before COVID shut the world down, which made me upset. I was supposed to be in Bordeaux for a week.
I would expect the most pedestrian wine and the one to be the chunkiest and the most foursquare to come from Saint-Estèphe. However, the one with the best perfume and all the rest of it, I would expect to come from Margaux. The most complete wine, the one that's got it all, I would expect to come from Pauillac. The one that is the most elegant, even sort of tending to the lightness and trying to coax the fruit out of it, I would put in the Grave.
I see you're enjoying this.
I love it.
I do like Pauillac too. I do like Pauillac. For me, Pauillac has more tobacco type flavors. This to me was also impressive. Picking out what wines are actually from which appellations, really impressive.
It's an interesting sort of thing. It's like Goldilocks. Pauillac doesn't do any one thing the best, but the package for Pauillac is the best. Number 4, I think is Pauillac. Is Margaux.
Number 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Margaux too.
And then number 5 back to Pauillac. These are serious wines, Jay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what do you think about the number 4?
Aside from the fact that I think it's Margaux. For sure.
Really impressive. I don't know a lot of people that have that kind of tasting ability and memory. Really impressive.
So probably we should wait for another 2 or 3 hours?
No. I think what we should do is finish this so that we can finish this.
If I was tasting those kind of wines, that's exactly what I'd be saying too. Let's finish up the video so I can get out and drink these wines. So let me know in the comments below. Have you watched Wineking before? Do you like that type of video? Do you like to see tasting videos, or do you like more vlog style, or do you like something else? I'd love to hear from you. And if you're thinking about what video to watch next, why don't you check out my reactions to wine scenes in film? I'll put that right up there. Have a nice one. I'll see you soon.